Hello, everybody. I am so excited for our guest today. Our guest today is a global music superstar and a TikTok phenom. He has sold 250 million singles worldwide and earned 12 billion streams. He recently joined the exclusive list of artists with a number one hit song in 3 consecutive decades. I personally have spent years singing his name, so I'm going to introduce him that way. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Jason Derulo.
Thank you for that intro, Josh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen. I have a boatload of questions, but I have to imagine the number of people that come up to you and just start singing your name is probably at this point you're like, I get it. I know my own name. I'm fine.
Yeah, no, I never heard that before.
Here's the thing. I know you're being sarcastic, but I'm gonna tell everybody that I'm the first. But I wanna ask you this, man. It's so great to meet you. You are a musical superstar. You are a TikTok phenom. You also talk in the book a lot about how you have other business ventures. Where did you find time to write a book, and what possessed you to write this?
It's funny that you asked me that because when I released the book, my creative director, who's one of my best friends, he was like, "Jay, where the hell did you find the time to write a book? You wrote a book?" I was like, "I don't know," but in the last 2 years, I would just jot things down, and it slowly became a full length project. Um, I wanted to put this together for all the dreamers out there that are giving up their dreams for something that their parents are telling them they should do, or going a route that they feel like is a safe route, but not going after their dream, not going after their passion. For those who think that it's too late to go after what their passion is. So it was really important for me to put it on paper and put it down, and I'm so thankful that I did.
Yeah, the problem I had with the book was I was so motivated. I was like, it was like 10 p.m. when I finished it. I was like, I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna go. I'm the next Jason Derulo. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
I,
Um, but I wanna start a little bit toward the beginning of your career, because even though the book, and for those that haven't read it yet, the book, it almost kind of follows the story from beginning to end, but it does jump around a little bit. But pretty early on, you talked about your first single, "What You Say," which I'm sure everybody knows. A lot of people probably don't know it was written for someone else. But the thing I wanted to talk about is that song has a very prominent sample from Imogen Heap in it.
Mhm.
Given that you're fighting to get your name into the music industry, not just as a songwriter, but as a performer, was there any fear that using that kind of prominent sample was going to make it tough for you to identify yourself as like a new music, a new sound in music, like as Jason Derulo, and not, oh, this person that sampled Imogen Heap?
I was 19 years old. Well, I was 18 years old when I wrote this song.
18.
No, I wasn't thinking anything. I was just excited to get a song out. That song was originally written for Sean Kingston. I wrote it with him in mind, and he turned that song down. Well, his label turned that song down, and they also turned down Replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep. That one. That actually went to Ayez. So those two songs were in that same time period, and yeah, they just was like, no, yeah, we're not gonna use these. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna use it. And that ended up being my introduction to the world.
Yeah, it was crazy when I read this book, finding out that pretty much every song that was on the radio, not everyone, but like a lot of them around that time, were all somehow connected back to you.
Yeah.
But you talked in the book. One thing I found really inspiring is you talked in the book about how you learn more from your failures than your successes, to the point where genuinely the subheading of the first rule of your book is "Failure is good," which was really refreshing to see. What are some of the biggest teaching moments that you have had from some of your failures? And are there any particular failures that kind of come to mind for you that you were like, this was an incredible teaching moment?
Yes. Failure is good. It's like, yeah, I fail all the time, so this is amazing. I'm on the right track. Yeah, failure is amazing because that means that you're trying and you're taking risks. Uh, some of my biggest moments of growth have come from my moments of failure. my down moments, my moments of darkness. So the more that you get doors shut in your face, I applaud you, because that means that you are going out there and putting yourself out on the line. Especially after the pandemic, I feel like so many people are closed off. So many people are not trying. So many people are in the house. Because there's so much that we can do from the house now. Everything. You don't have to go out and get food. You can get food delivered to you. You don't have to go into work because you can do work from home. You can get someone to come cut your hair at the house. I mean, literally anything like you can do at home now. So I encourage people to go out there and do and just be out of the house, as much as possible. But speaking of failure, I can just choose a big negative moment in my life. I broke my neck in 2014. I broke my C2 vertebrae, and it was a very dark moment in my life because I was coming off a very high moment, from to be living my dream at 1 second, and then have one of the most traumatic injuries that one can have. Real shocker, as you can imagine. I had a hangman's break in my C2 vertebrae, and I, could have been paralyzed or worse, because it was a hangman's break, which is one of the worst kinds of breaks you can possibly get. Um, so in this moment, I can't tie my shoes. I can't shower myself. Learning to sleep on my back. Life is very, very limited, and I'm not used to not being able to do things myself. So it was a really, really tough time. But I relied on my routine, and my routine was what the shoulder that I was able to cry on. It was waking up at the same time every single day, going to the gym at the same time every single day. Even though I could only just walk on the treadmill, it was something that I was doing that day. I started somewhere, and slowly I was able to do a little more and a little more and a little more. I worked on my craft for a chunk of time of the day. Then I went to bed, and then rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And I did that every single day. And I was literally just trying to win the day and try to further myself each day and push myself a little more every single day. And then when I looked up, all of a sudden I was better. And I had written my one of my most successful albums at that time, and 6 platinum songs came off that album. And it was because I did the
My.
same thing every single day.
Yeah, there is a, for lack of a better term, there is a like fearlessness that is a theme that kind of runs through your book. And you talk about there's some risks that there were boatloads of risks that you take in this book, but the way that you talk about the risks is that there's almost no fear of regret, right? Which I think that a lot of us deal with. A really good example, and this goes into a little more detail in the book, but you talk about how when you were in college, you were offered a role in a touring production of Rent, which is a huge deal, that you felt comfortable turning down because you had that much faith in yourself. How do you bring up in yourself that lack of fear of regret and stay focused on what you want to do?
I think it comes from the belief, right? People talk about manifestation, but it's even deeper than that, because manifestation is the start, right? That's the beginning. You start saying things, and then slowly you start to believe it. When you speak out loud, your body listens to you. Listens to you. You have a trillion cells in your body, and your body's listening to what you're saying. And the more you say it, it starts to believe it. And the more you believe it, the more that you start to act like that person. And the more that you start to become that person. You become that person that you are aiming to be, because you are speaking it every single day. You're like, if you are a health nut, right? And you say you're a health nut, but you're actually not. You say you're a health nut. If you start to say it, you'll start to believe it, right? Like, so, as a health nut, I wouldn't eat that. Oh, I wouldn't eat that. Oh, a health nut, would probably go to the gym at this time. Oh, a health nut would probably go to the gym for a second time this day. And it's crazy how you can manipulate your mind and then manipulate your body just off the things that you're saying. But it starts with the manifestation. It starts with those words. And I truly believed in my heart of hearts that my path was to be a successful musician. People ask me all the time, like, "Did you know that you were gonna be here?" The polite thing to do is say, "Nah, no, I didn't know I was gonna be here." But truthfully, I'm not being cocky when I say I believed in my heart of hearts that I would be here, and I did not allow myself to think that there was any other route. I didn't allow myself to think that there was any other option. It was just this, and I was going to get there by any means necessary. I was going to take this door, and if this door shut, cool. I was going to take this one shut, cool, cool. I'm going to try this one. I'm going to try this one, and I'm going to keep going and keep failing until one opens up, because I know that's my destiny.
Yeah, I mean, it's really clear in the book. I mean, one of your rules is even unlock doors, but walk through the open ones first. I'm just quoting
Josh,
your
I
book
love
now.
the fact that you're so versed in the book. By the way, it's really really it's really really refreshing, man. Thanks so much.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. But you know, one of the things that you talk about in your book a lot is you tie a lot of things back to your work ethic, which is very inspiring. And one of the things that I think captures your work ethic really well is kind of what you've done with TikTok. So,
Mhm.
given your schedule, your obligations, and all the things that you do, how do you find time to fit something like that, which is really a gateway to your fans? And it seems like the fans have loved getting to know you through that. How are you making time to fit that into your schedule? Because you do post a healthy number of times throughout the week.
For sure. So I post a healthy number of times now, but when I was on the grind, when I was like really doing well, I was posting 6 times a day. Like I was going like really, really for gold. And I was receiving, I was really reaping the benefits. I was getting over 1 billion views a month on my channel alone, which is a crazy amount of numbers. You know, no network is getting those kind of viewerships, right? But I actually need to get on it. I need to get back on it because it was really crazy. But anyway, I was doing that just so that I could learn social media. I I was the worst at social media. I had sold hundreds of millions of records, and people couldn't tell the difference of the song of the person. They couldn't match me.
Hmm.
The dots weren't connected, and it was the weirdest thing in the world. I was literally one of the most played artists in the entire world, but still, it's like Jason Derulo, I don't really know who is. It's because in this day and age, social media is just such a huge part of everything. It's not just music, it's not just entertainment. Everything that we're doing, whether if you have a law firm or whether you have a dentist practice, you know, whatever it is that you do, whatever your way of making money, you are the brand. Your page is important, you know. So I decided to take a time of my life, a chunk of my life, and figure this thing out. And I started to utilize these same rules that I utilized in music, the same rules that I utilized in business, and started to apply them to social media. Try, 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 fail, 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 fail. And eventually I figured it out, you know, and it was through that trial and error, it was through failing a million times and having you know, people laugh at me and people say that I'm crazy and all kinds of things. But it took that to build the page that I have today. It took, you know, me failing a million times to build what I have today.
I mean, you know, it's you just mentioned that people were calling you crazy. One of the most shocking things in the book, literally had me taken aback, is that you read some of the social media comments and you actually, one of the only people in the world, and I'm sure you think other people do this, you actually read them and then and find ways to constructively apply them. I got to tell you, I'm a stand-up comic. I post my comedy on all the time. All I get is I have big ears and I'm not funny. I don't know how to make those things constructive. How do you find in the sea of comments on your clips? How are you finding things that are constructive and also at the same time shielding yourself a little bit to be like, they don't know what they're talking about. I am great.
Yeah, so you got to decipher. You got to decipher through the hate comments and ones that you can actually benefit from. Uh, you know, the easy thing to do is not pay attention to them at all. You know that you're protecting yourself, and I understand those who do that. I get it, but in a world of trying to get better, in a world of trying to become the best version of yourself, I would look for anything to be better, whether it's coming from a random stranger or whether it's coming from in my circle or whether it's coming from my mom. I'm listening to everybody. I want everybody's opinion. Give me it all. Give me the good, the bad, the ugly, so that I can pick apart the things that I don't think work for me, and choose the things that I do feel like, oh, I can actually learn from that. I can pull from that and take from that. Because at the end of the day, I want to be the best version of myself. So as hard as it is to take a comment that is negative, uh, I think, sometimes they say something that may have some validity, even if
Mhm.
it comes from the wrong place in their heart. Because there's a lot of trolls, there's a lot of negativity, and you have to decipher through those things. Because obviously, some are just downright hate from somebody that's miserable in their in their room. And even if somebody's hating, sometimes maybe they have something valid to say.
Yeah, I think that's true. And this is not a question, but just a comment. I was really impressed with the way that you are kind of able to understand what to take and what not to. I mean, for those that haven't read the book yet, and again, I'm not trying to spoil anything. Go read the book. But for those that haven't read the book yet, you talk about a moment where you played Talk Dirty for your mother, and she said, "Don't put that out." But you were able to say, "I respect this opinion, but this isn't my target audience, so this is going to stay here for a second, and I'm going to continue on." I really found that particularly inspiring.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I knew that song would either be really big or it was going to fall super flat. It was no middle ground because it was just so different to everything else. It was just really like this huge, huge risk. I knew it was gonna go one way or the other.
Well, I'm glad it went the way it did because I personally love that song.
Thank
I have to ask this. I know this is a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It's important to me. You mentioned Tevin Campbell 4 or 5 different times in your book. When can we, your listening public, expect you to do a cover of Eye to Eye from a Goofy movie, which is a Tevin Campbell vocal masterpiece?
I I I don't know that I ever heard that song.
Okay.
Or
Stop.
maybe
We're
I have.
stopping. We're canceling this whole interview. Just go back and listen, watch a Goofy movie, listen to that song. I'm telling you, your millennial public will be over the moon if you cover that track.
Really.
Absolutely. It's a cult classic. There was literally an oral history written about it about a year ago
And who
about
who sings it in the movie?
so in the movie it's by an artist named Powerline, but it's by Tevin Campbell.
Oh yeah, I've been compared to Powerline a lot of times. I feel like that has come up a bunch of times, and I did see that movie 100 years ago.
Okay. I love that. You're like 100 years ago. You don't look a day over 25. Like it's been 100 years.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
no, man. Listen, I get it. But okay. So back to some serious questions here. One of the things I found really interesting. I'm a New Yorker, and you talked about Showtime at the Apollo, which is a staple for New Yorkers. A lot of us know that. But one of the things that you talked about is after winning, that nothing changed, which was shocking to me. And you went on to say that there's no such thing as a big break. Out of curiosity, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, but have you ever had a moment in your career where you've been able to kind of to yourself alone in a quiet moment say, "Oh, I've made it."
Um, I've had a couple of those moments. Yes, I feel like I had a moment like that this morning. Honestly, with
Oh,
seeing a bestseller by the book, I that was just like crazy to me. I was just like, this is as surreal as it gets. Uh, to me, I I spoke about this like a month ago. I said, people stop and smell the roses too much, and people were like, "What?" It was like, "Jason's crazy. What? What are you talking about?" What I mean is, sometimes we can get too caught up in the celebration
mhm.
and lose the drive that got us there in the first place. So it is nice to smell the roses. It is nice to, enjoy the fruits of your labor. But for a time, I feel like for me, let me personalize this. Maybe that'll be less offensive. Um, for me, I truly enjoy the chase. I love the journey. The journey is my favorite part. I've been able to uh, buy all kinds of things, and I have all kinds of things. right? For instance, this Lamborghini. I always, when I was a kid, I had this Lamborghini on my wall, and I was like, I'm gonna get this Lamborghini. I'm gonna get this Lamborghini. The same color, the same kind. I got this Lamborghini.
Oh,
Drove that thing like 4 times, and then I was over it. Then I just didn't drive it anymore. It's another thing. It's like thing. It's like, okay, like now what? You know? But what I will tell you is my favorite thing to do in the world is to create. When I can have a quiet moment to myself, and I get, put some lights on, and turn the lights down, and put some color lights on and turn the lights down, grab a drink, and then write some music. That's what I love. That's my favorite thing to do in the world. So the journey, the hard work, the 5 a.m.s, the not getting any sleep, and then like waking up, and the grind, that's what I live for. I am totally and utterly in love with the grind. And I think that is part of who I am today. And I will say that the book asks a lot of you. So if you are not 100% going to go after that dream with everything that you have, and have goals to be the best at something, you should probably not read it. You probably did not get it. It's going to be a waste of your time. The book is not necessarily for the kind of person that wants to dip in and dip out and then kind of do it. It really asks a lot from you. It is very demanding, because it is, the route to living your dream, you know?
yeah. I mean, the only thing I would challenge you on there a little bit is like I do
Come on,
think
Josh,
that people
give it
should
to me.
read that. Say again.
I said, come on, give it to me. What
Yeah.
you
Well, I do think that people should read that book, even though they're not positive about it, because I think that by the end of the book, like listen, I pursue a dream outside of this. By the end of the book, I was more convinced than I ever had been before that I'm
Mm,
on the right track. So I would say, even if you're not 100% sure, go read the book, because by the end of it, you may have your mind changed. I mean, this book does a really great job of getting people to take a look at this outside. It clears a lot of the cobwebs away and just goes, this is it. Here it is. This is what you need to do.
I
So
love that.
yeah, by the end, you make your choice. But I would encourage more people than just the diehards to read it, because I think you might end up a diehard by the end.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'd rather your perspective than mine.
Okay, listen, we'll talk to the publishers. Let's get that blurb on the book. Um, I wanna talk something that I found really interesting. When you talk about leaving your record label, you were with Warner for a really long time. You talk about leaving the label, and what I thought was really cool is you actually talked about finding success independently. You go on later to say that you went and you signed with Atlantic Records. But I guess I think that your perspective out of anyone in the music industry is probably the most interesting, given the following that you have on social media and the impact that you are able to have directly with people, and what you saw when you went independent. Do you find there's as much of a need to achieve the success that you want with a record label now? Or do you find that these are things that people can do independently, but you had met the right people at the right time?
So different people have different goals, and some people's goal is to make money, and that's cool. But for me, I think the best value, because I am a numbers guy. I'm not just a passion guy. I'm definitely about the data. I'm definitely about the numbers. I'm definitely about the dollars and the cents. So I can see both areas, right? I can see both kinds of minds, because I have a little bit of both. Well, I have a lot of both. Um, so even though I went independent and I was able to, get platinum records as an independent, I still see the value in having a team. I still see the value in numbers. So although I was able to do it myself, I'd say 3 times. I had three really successful songs independently. Who's to say that I can do it the fourth time? I don't know, but
Mhm.
I'm also not willing to. I'm not willing to take that risk just for the money. I'd rather continue to build the brand because I think brand first, dollars second. Always brand, 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 brand. How do we make the brand more successful? How do we lift the brand up? Because the dollars will follow. Uh, Independent artists are not typically the most successful artists out there, right? You have anomalies, of course. You have people that have done it, but generally speaking, they're just not as of yet. So I was just not willing to take that risk. To me, I think the brand is more important, and I'd rather protect the brand and have a solid team around me, and I can still amplify things myself. And with the team together, hopefully the power is even bigger.
Yeah, and I want to follow up quickly on the team point because I think it's really interesting. You talk about you told a very funny story in the book about how you were for a brief second part of a trio named JDX for a second, at a talent show, and things didn't go great. But I think one of the themes there is you were talking a lot about how it's hard to find people with your work ethic that want to work at the level that you want to work at. Given that, when you are looking at your greater team, whether it is your label or your management or your PR people, whatever it is, how are you making sure that you're finding the people with your level of work ethic? And to use a quote that I loved from the book, how do you make sure you have the right bees in the hive?
It's really a tough thing. Uh, Luckily, the my core team I was born into, so we came into this together. So I have a core team of four people that are my family members. The closest people to me in the world, and they work as hard as I work because they understand me and I understand them. I work hard for them and they work hard for me. We all push each other to be better versions of ourselves, and we all rag on each other when we're not doing very well. Other people will start to talk about you if you're not up to par on your job. We'll start to talk about you, and it'll become like this big joke, and like nobody wants to be left behind. So it's like almost like this healthy competition thing, like who's working the hardest. And that is really, really tough to find. Obviously, really, really tough to find. When I'm talking about like the exterior team, it's really tough to find people that actually want to work hard, because there's a lot of people that are not passionate about their jobs. There's a lot of people that do the job for the money, and a lot of people that are there when the hours are when their hours are on and they're being paid, and then they clock out. That's not my kind of person. My kind of person is not the person that clocks out. So I really try to find the people that are really passionate and that really love what they do. Because if you're not, you're just you're just not my kind of person. Even if you're starting off at the internship level, I have to see some quality in you that feels like you want to be the next somebody. I don't think that a person that is working anywhere within my circle should have the perspective that I'm going to stay right here and this is going to be where I thrive for the rest of my life. I only want growers. I only want people that want to be something else later in life.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know where the application is. I'm happy to fill it out, and we'll go from there. I'll be Jason Derulo's next big intern.
Come on, let's go.
Um, but I want to. We have this is live, and we have some great questions coming in. So I do want to get a couple of those questions in for you. The first one is from Farah. She wants to know, what is one thing you want the reader to take away from the book?
Um, I hope the reader finds that there's so much joy within the journey.
Hmm.
I think when people talk about hard work, they make it sound like such a bad thing. But when I look back to the hard work, they're just such happy memories. They're my favorite memories. When I can say things like, when I used to walk to the bus stop, I would treat that as a music video, and um, or like trying to build this company. I was up all night, and I stayed awake until the sun came up. Those are my favorite times. Those are my favorite things to look back on, and having successful companies, looking back at the beginning and where it started, when it was grassroots, and I was, going to meet every single program director in the entire world because I wanted them to play my song, and I kissed, a million babies, and I said Merry Christmas to a million, people that were programming these playlists. Those are happy memories to me because it's like it was the grind. It was like, yo, that was crazy when. So I hope they take from this book that they're finding something that they're super passionate about, and that they're able to find happiness within chasing that particular thing. And that just because it's hard work does not mean that it's not fun.
Yeah, I think that was very eloquently put. My gosh, I feel like you must have gotten that question before. You're like, here's a brilliant answer. Um, so I'm going to jump to the next question. Let's see if you got this one right.
Nobody ever asked me that, by the way. That was a great question.
You know what? That's all Farah. That has nothing to do with me. Farah, thank Farah.
Thank you, Farah.
For this next question, I love this next question. This is from Alex Weiss. She says, we are the same age and you've accomplished so much. Alex, I have that same problem with Jason. She wants to know, what do you hope to achieve in the next steps of your career?
So that's one of the reasons why I decided to write the book as well, because certain people are saying things like, oh, it's too late for my passion, and like I'm just gonna do this because it's too late for me. I've already passed, I crossed that bridge, it's over. I don't believe that in my heart of hearts. And more so than ever in 2023, in this new age of social media, times have changed and fans have changed. People love authenticity. People love rooting for the underdog. People love a story of somebody rising. So whatever your passion may be, I don't think it's ever too late. It's literally never too late, because I'm a fan of this bee lady on TikTok, and she just goes and saves the bees. It's the most fascinating thing to me in the world. I met these guys on this building. I was staying at a hotel within Australia. It was this building that has 89 floors. I was on the 89th floor, and I'm getting dressed, and I hear, "Hi, Jason." I look back. I'm like, "Oh shit, who's at my window on the 89th floor?" And it was these guys that were cleaning the windows on the 89th floor. And I was like, this is the most incredible thing that I've ever seen before. I was like, how are you guys up here? Like, how is this happening? And I was like, is it a team of you? And they were like, nah, it's just the two of us. And I was just like, cleaning the whole building? And they were like, yeah. I was like, do you know how amazing of a TV show, or if you guys got on social media, and like this would be incredible. I would love to see that, but it's all about knowing the proper steps, right? If I were them, because I think they are unbelievable. If I were them, I could create an entire show based on that job. It's just such an incredible thing, and it's an inside to something that we've never seen before. We don't know what that world looks like, but it is wild. Literally, they were like, "Can you shut this window right here?" And I was like, "All right, cool, but why?" It was like, because if the line hits it, then I was like, "What? All right, I'm gonna shut it right now." But I just thought it was just one of the most interesting moments that I've had in the last couple months, and I don't know that they know how interesting it is. But I say that to say it's never too late for anybody, no matter what your practice is, or what passion that you have. There's literally a stage for everybody, because everybody's interesting in some way or another.
Yeah, I mean, I tell myself that every day. My girlfriend says it's not true, but I tell myself that every day. I wanted to sneak in one more audience question, and then I'll wrap with the last one. But we got a question from, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, Galiga. And they said, I want to ask what your best advice is for someone who got stuck creatively.
Someone who got stuck creatively. My favorite thing to do when I get stuck creatively is to copy someone else. Um, and I know it sounds crazy, but this is how you do it. You take something that you really, really, really love, and let me put it in music terms because it'll be easy for me to explain it like that. So, for instance, um, if I love Thriller by Michael Jackson, I will load up Thriller by Michael Jackson. Same tempo, same key. Um, that subject matter is like cool. All right, this one is called Thriller. It's about this. All right, so what if I did a song called this? Same tempo, same key, da da da. Then I'm gonna change the title to this, and then my story is gonna be about this. So now I have some sort of blueprint, right? I have some sort of kind of anchor, right? And then I'm gonna build around this anchor as opposed to having to dream up something totally different in my mind. Also, let me relate it to business. So one of my more flourishing businesses that I have is a car wash company that valued in the billions now, but it came from someone else's idea, right? So basically, have these car washes. We all seen car washes; they're on every block. But what if we utilized what Netflix did? What Netflix did, changed the whole way that we watch TV, right? We are not going to Blockbuster and renting movies anymore. We're not even going to the movies as much as we used to because it's in the comfort of our own home and it's convenient and it's cheap. How can I make car washes convenient and cheap? Membership model, cool. All right, so I'm going to take what Netflix did, rejigger it up, and bring it to car washes. So now you can go get your car washed, and all you got to do is pay $7.99 every single month, and you can wash your car whenever you like. Cool. I mean, I was paying $20 before just for one car wash. Why wouldn't I not pay $7.99? To wash my car at any time I want. You get value, the company gets value. The idea is not a fresh idea; it's for someone else's idea, but I utilized it. I borrowed it and created an idea from a pre-existing idea. So that's what I do if I'm stuck.
That was incredible. And also, I just realized I probably need to get a car wash. So that's food for thought. My final question, and then I want to send you off into the distance in success of this wonderful book. My final question for you is: you balance a lot of things. Your music career, you just launched a beverage line. You've got your car washes. You've got a family. You've got a son.
Yep.
How do you keep all those plants watered? You know what I mean? How do you make sure that you're given everything that the time and attention it needs, while at the same time promoting this book? Like, how are you balancing everything?
Something is going to get less attention. Something is definitely going to get a little bit less. And time is really valuable. So at this stage in my life, being a father, I value time more than anything now. So I'm only doing things that will move the needle, and I'm super passionate about. Otherwise, it's not enough to take time away from my son. And I don't know. I take it one day at a time. I take it one day at a time, and I wake up in the morning. There's a million things to do. Damn, which one? So I just try to prioritize as best as I can. And, truthfully speaking, something is always going to get a little less time.
I respect that. And on a very personal note, I need to remind myself of that. I could probably talk to you for another 9 hours, but as you said, time is valuable, especially yours. Jason, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being so honest and candid with your answers. For those at home, the book, Sing Your Name Out Loud, Jason, you are awesome. I really, really hope this book continues to succeed because you are a wonderful guy.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.